Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is episode number 390. Turnbuckle Talk, Rumble to Remember. And OMD, I have a little scenario that I encountered today, not in our real life, but in the online world. As you know, because both you and I are gamers,
Yes.
and you know that I've been playing the video game Watch Dogs 2.
Yes.
Now, Watch Dogs 2 is a game where you can go into other people's games and mess up what they're doing.
Right.
It was weird today because I was in the middle of a very important mission, a mission that turns the tides on the story, as it were.
Okay.
And I guess another player had gotten into my game and had known that I was doing this mission somehow and helped me out by setting up the first thing I needed to do with that mission. Have you ever had something like that happen to you at all?
I
Like,
can't say that I have. Usually it's if I encounter something like that, and I'm going to use back when I tried Diablo 2.
mhm,
And I always get the trolls. And I was, maybe a day in. And I was,
mhm,
level 5, level 6 with my character. And a guy who's significantly higher level comes up and says, "Hey, let's PvP." And I'm like, "No, thanks, because you're going to smoke me." And he drops me anyways.
yeah,
But I've never had somebody come into a game and do something to help me out. But then again, that's not really my style of game, anyways, right? So, like, if I'm
mhm,
playing, whether it's an open world or a shooter, I'm playing it for the story and for myself. I'm not playing to go in and mess with somebody else's game or have somebody else get involved in my game unless I know that person well and we agree, okay, we're going to meet online at this time and we're going to play.
right. But again, like this game, like it's designed to, um, you're designed to either yeah, you're designed to go in and mess up. It's something that you have to do. You have to be that troll in some cases, you know.
Right.
Um, and I've been encountering a lot of them in this game, and it was just nice to see that. It was nice to see kindness in gaming. And here's what I do too, because when I go online and play Grand Theft Auto online, I troll the trolls. That's what I do.
Right.
If I see on my right hand or my left hand screen so many times this one character has died, I'm like, okay, this guy is trolling him. I get out my most powerful weapon, which is my my Mark II rocket bike on Grand Theft Auto, and I go and I locate where this guy is, and I just troll the hell out of him
Right.
before he gives up and leaves.
Right.
Um, but no, I was totally completely surprised by that because like what it was I had to climb this tall building and I had to go hack this government official's office and get some leaks out of him.
Right.
And as I was listening to what I had to do, I heard the player operating a crane because I had to use a crane to get to the top of the building
Right.
and then setting it in the middle of the street. And I'm like, well, what the hell is that noise? That sounds like somebody's hacking nearby me. And I got a little like, oh shit, somebody's here to screw my game up. And
Right.
so I go over to look, and then I see the player doing it, and I see that he has a green name above him, which indicates that he's actually a friend. So he's on
Right.
your side. Um, so I'm like, I go down, and before I could even like thank the guy, he's already off on onto another server helping somebody else out, I suppose.
Wow.
Um, so I'm like, okay, he just made my mission a hell of a lot easier by doing
Right.
that. Thank you, whoever you are, if you're out there listening and watching. Um,
Right.
it's that's the kind of stuff I like in gaming is when you see other gamers trying to help out.
Right.
Um, but yeah, again, I know you said you don't really encounter that, but if you and I were playing Diablo 2 and I was far level, I would give
Right.
if I didn't know you but I saw you, I'm the type of player that would be like, okay, I have a lot of lower level weapons that might help him out. I'll
Right.
give them to him, you know.
Right. Yeah,
But
that was a friend of mine trying to teach me that on the PC, and it was like this
mhm,
one player ruined that entire game for me.
that sucks, man, because I've had that happen to me too. And again, this goes back to Grand Theft Auto Online. I was playing it for the first time on the PS3. And it's funny that I'm going to say this because we had one flying over our head over the weekend,
Yes.
but somebody got into an F-18 and started bombing the hell out of everybody on the map. And this was when I was a noob and didn't have anything to my name
Right.
in that game, you know?
Right.
And it was from that moment on that I'm like, I vowed to myself that if I see another player in trouble, I'm not going to go and join in and give them trouble. I'm going to help them out, you know?
Right. Right.
The only time in Grand Theft Auto when I do kill another player is if they're doing something that requires me that will give me more XP. So like if they're on a mission and they've got to smuggle something,
Right.
the game will let you know, hey, this player's doing this. You can go take him out if you want to. But at
Right.
that, but instead of like, I'll look at where that player is on the map and be like, okay, if he's all the way on the other side of the map, I'm not going to bother. I'm going to go do what I wanted to go do. But if he's within my area, then I will
Right.
get in and do that, you know?
Well, I mean, even in like my mobile game, like there's daily quests and then there's a main quest.
Right.
And the main quest, of course, is there. It's just a lot of tediousness and grinding.
Right.
And one of the things is you have to go and scout scout another player's base,
Right.
or go and attack a player. And I'm like, I will literally message that player in game. Okay, look, this is the situation. I'm coming to scout you. This is the situation. But then anything I take, I go and return to them.
It's the kindness in gaming, man.
Yep.
It's sad that though in this world of gaming that not a lot of players are like that because we get those 11 year olds who come into our games and try to prove that they're big boss. I had that incident actually happen to me on Watch Dogs the other day.
Right.
Somebody thought that they could hack the hell out of me, but I'm like, nope. I opened up the thing that allows me to show where they are, pinpointed exactly where they were, and got them before they could even
Nice.
do it, you know?
Nice.
But I think we should save the gaming talk for tomorrow because PlayStation Showcase, obviously.
Yep.
And move on to our news stories. And I got a bit of a doozy of one that I think we could talk about at first as soon as I can find. There it is. All right, let's do this. This one was actually, oh, indeed, you're muted still. Okay, there you are. Um, This one was actually a story that I did forget to add to our description, but it was something that we saw happen last night on Monday Night Raw. And I'm, of course, talking about the weird Norse symbols that we saw appear in a vignette.
Yes.
Now, we've managed somebody here at Turnbuckle Talk, I believe it was Chris Parrish and Bubba Duke, going to give them the shout out, managed to crack the code.
Yep.
And the letters that translate are RAW or WAR, whichever way you want to put it, or
Right.
ARW or whatever. This, to me, now firmly sets to me that it's going to be the Viking Raiders. But go ahead.
And
You look like you got something.
I'm with you there, but I'm wondering if maybe as we get closer to the Netflix deal and a little less censorship, if we are going to get the War Raiders, or let's predate that, and the War Machine. from Ring
That's
of
where
Honor.
I was going with this, dude. Because I looked at what was said in there, and I'm like, okay, they brought back war, the word war, because war games, right? Um, then I'm like, well, the Viking Raiders used to be known as the War Raiders, which was a stupid name, and still in my eyes, Viking Raiders is much cooler.
Uh,
Um, I'm like, and then I thought to myself, well, Hunter likes tradition. Hunter likes when wrestlers have their own names, their own identities. And I know that Eric and Ivar wrestled on the Indies as War Machine. I
yes,
don't know if they were. I don't know if they were Eric and Ivar. I can't remember what their names
they
were
were
there.
not. They were Hanson and Rowe.
Right. Okay. So now I'm wondering, do they bring back Hanson and Rowe as well, or I'm really wondering, do we get War Machine back? And do they still carried the Viking gimmick? Correct.
No, they did not.
Oh, I thought they. I thought I read somewhere that they did.
No, there was some similarities,
Hmm.
but no, the Viking gimmick was something new. The Viking Raiders, even then, I've like never really been sold on the name. I actually preferred the War Raiders better.
Hmm.
Um, and as much as I would love to see it be War Machine, I'm wondering if AEW and Ring of Honor still own that trademark.
See, I don't think so because there's a lot of wrestlers have been able to use their names out that they used in ROH outside of Ring of Honor. I mean, we talk about Eddie Edwards, Eddie Kingston, Brian Danielson, Nigel
Yes,
McGuinness, but those are their
but
real names at the same
those
time.
are their real names, and they may have them trademarked. Because I mean, let's not forget, AJ Styles used his name everywhere he's been.
Yeah, even in WCW, and a lot of people forget he was there.
Yes, he was. So does Samoa Joe.
Yep.
So that's where I'm wondering is like, did Ring of Honor and Kerry Selkin, yes, I'm going to go with that name,
Hmm.
did they trademark that? And was it part of the library that went when AEW bought it? Or has that trademark expired?
I'm going to assume because it's been a minute since the Viking Raiders wrestled in ROH that they probably did let go of that trademark.
Right.
But yeah, the I love when WWE puts out these vignettes now because they make it very, very interesting. And just as interesting as this guy, Bobby Stats, coming in and saying, "Hello, guys. Hello, Bobby Stats. How's it
Hello,
going?
Bobby.
We're talking Viking Raiders here, and we're talking about the possibility of them coming back as War Machine or the War Raiders or some kind of a name change."
And I'm wondering if they're coming back at War Games.
Well, that all depends because I know Eric might be getting cleared pretty soon. I don't know what Ivar's injury update is, and I don't think
Right.
Valhalla is going to be back anytime soon.
No. Well, Valhalla's not going to be back because she's pregnant.
Hmm.
They've also um, Eric. They've announced. I think it's like December or January they're due. So who knows how long he's going to be off again, or if he's going to take time off.
Well, Seth didn't really take time off when Becky had her baby.
No.
Um, okay, you said December, and my brain went to them possibly coming back around December, and I was thinking, well, again, Saturday night's main event needs a couple of things to beef it up to remind people just how great that show was.
Yeah. Well, and I mean December. I mean, if we're going to look at around November, again, November 30th is War Games.
Yeah, and I'm painting out some scenarios in my head right now, and I'm thinking really long and hard about this one, and I'm thinking War Games has become Roman Reigns' match. We'll put it at that, and Cody Rhodes' match as well. And I get a feeling that the both of them are going to be teaming up again in War Games. Maybe.
See, I
Imagine,
don't
imagine though if they brought the War Raiders to be a part of them, the Viking Raiders to be a part of them.
see. I know that the Bloodline have had, I believe it's, well, this is the third War Games on the main roster, right? Or the
Yeah,
fourth?
and no, this is the third because and Roman's been in all of them.
No, because he wasn't in last year's.
Yes, he was. Was he not?
Last year was Judgment Day and Drew
Oh, right. My bad.
versus Cody, Seth.
Yeah, my bad.
So
But it does feel like it could be Roman's match. You know what I mean?
it could.
Um, it's Cody's match more so than Roman's because let's face it, Dusty is the creator of it,
Right.
and the Rhodes family has been featured in more War Games matches than I can count.
Yes.
But Bobby Stats also brings up a good point here. He goes, "What if we see Ivar show up on an episode of Raw or at the Royal Rumble? Not just Ivar, but Eric as well. You know."
Wait a minute. What if that's Xavier Woods' tease? I need to reunite with some old friends.
He did have a loose partnership with Eric and Ivar last year, and were they taking out Judgment Day? I can't remember. I feel like
I
Judgment Day was in
believe
like every feud last year. So,
right.
um, what I do want to see come back is that Viking Rules match because the first time they did that, that was so friggin' cool.
Right. Especially that big half a ship attached to the ring.
Yeah, that was really cool. But there's a lot of things that I'm excited to see about. You know what? I kind of want to see. I think I know that they're coming to Raw, but I feel like maybe I want to say the Viking Raiders would be best suited for SmackDown because we talked about there is a bit of a tag team depth there, but I'm thinking if you add the Raiders there, it might just add a little bit more depth to the tag division there because.
Right.
Hmm.
Now, and again, I mean, we've got to touch on the fact that there is, and I will say this is a rumor. There is nothing confirmed on this, but there is speculation of another draft before the Netflix.
Yeah, and I really don't want that to be fair. I mean, I understand. I would like it. I would like it to be more of a trade deadline thing.
Right.
So, like, because I know that Netflix is angling to get Roman over, and I'm pretty sure Netflix probably has a list of wrestlers that they would like on their show that are on SmackDown. I'm going to assume Cody's probably a part of that list, but Cody's the WWE champ, so you can't
Well, I think
do that.
I know they were really angling for Roman Reigns, so they want to have, if they're going to do that, you want to have one version of the Bloodline on one show, one version on the other. So I can't see, Cody jumping ship. So I hadn't heard anything really beyond Roman for Netflix or the Bloodline for that matter.
Yeah, but
The
like I
OG
said,
Bloodline.
yeah. But like I said, I got to assume that Netflix probably has a list of guys that they would like to see. And this is for the US Netflix because up here it doesn't really bother us
No.
because everything is going to Netflix for us up here. So, but I'm excited. I'm very excited to see how much further we're going to see with as far as these vignettes go. I do. It's clear we're not going to see Valhalla because obviously when you have a child, you're gone for about. Well, Becky was gone for a little over a year when she had her baby.
Yep. I think she was gone for about 18 months.
She left after the Money in the Bank that Asuka won.
Yes.
And
And then
had
she
her first
returned at
match.
SummerSlam the following year.
Yeah, I was going to say she had her first match back at SummerSlam the following year. So she was 14 months, give or take.
And then, I mean, you look at Alexa Bliss.
She's coming on 2 years that she's been gone, but she also got pregnant during her absence.
She did.
But no, this is sorry, go ahead. I forgot what I was going to say.
Well, I was going to say we've spent a lot of time here talking about Cody Rhodes and the Rhodes legacy, and I think that's a great segue.
It is. It's a great segue to actually, this is something that I said months ago that this guy needs to do, because I've been watching some of the stuff he's been doing with his training school on YouTube, because he uploads it all. He has every couple of months he does a showcase show to showcase the talent that he's training. And this we're talking about Dustin Rhodes here. He's actually turning his gym now, his gym, into a full-fledged promotion. It's going to be a gym/promotion similar to Booker T's Reality of Wrestling. He's calling it RWA, as he's been calling it on YouTube, and he's actually going to be bringing it on the road as well too. That's going to be the interesting part as well. He's doing that first show. Where did it say? Oh, it says here on his Twitter, finally at Rhodes Wrestling is launching. Stay tuned in the coming weeks for all the info. November 21st, Thursday at 6 p.m. Central. Hashtag RWA's bullpen in Leander, Texas. Let's make the first one a special one. He's also doing a VIP meet and greet there. And I highly recommend. I haven't met the guy, but I know people who have. I believe you may be one of them, OMD. I can't remember. Okay. But I know people who have met him through the previous incarnation of CWE that used to come here. Because he wrestled for them at the Pavilion over 20-some years ago almost.
Wow.
Do yourself a favor, if you're in the Texas area, go out, check the show, check these guys out. It's a bunch of young talent who've got, a lot of them have a definite future in this industry.
Yeah.
But do yourself a favor, go out, take part in this meet and greet with Dustin, because he's a fantastic dude.
Yes, and although they'd had a little bit of experience in MLW, look at the work he's done with Ross and Marshall Von Erich.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're 6-man tag team champions in Ring of Honor.
Well, it was Kevin who actually told them to go to Dustin.
Right.
So we got Bobby Stats saying that's awesome for what Dustin is doing, and I fully agree. Dustin is one of those dudes, right? We've talked about wrestlers who weren't quite successful in the ring but found success outside the ring. Dustin is not that dude, obviously, because he's had success in the ring. He's definitely WWE Hall of Fame bound. He's probably, if AEW does a Hall of Fame at some point, he's going to be in there as well. He's also he's going to be a part of all the Hall of Fames.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're saying you wouldn't be surprised if AEW inducts him if they did in the AEW Hall?
I wouldn't be surprised if TNA does it as well, even though he did not have a long stint there.
It was,
or should I say, a long reign.
Yeah. The less we can forget about that part of Dustin, the better it is, you know.
Well, I mean, there's that one, and then there was, of course, 7.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm going to go with the deep WCW cut there.
Stella, we are doing just fine. We are talking wrestling here. There was another piece of news that came in this article as well, because Dustin's not the only Rhodes that's starting a wrestling promotion.
No, he is not.
Dustin's sister Dustin and Cody's sister, Telly Rhodes, is also starting a wrestling promotion. She is relaunching Dusty's Turnbuckle Championship Wrestling. She has launched that earlier in the year alongside QT Marshall. there's a dude right there. If you're going to launch a promotion and he wants to get involved, bring him on. You know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely.
They've hosted events. They've hosted several events in Marshall and Cody Rhodes' Nightmare Factory Training School in Georgia, and I've watched some of those events because once again, just like Dustin's school, you can find Nightmare Factory stuff on YouTube as well. And actually, there's a lot of entertaining things that they're doing there.
Right.
But I've got to wonder though, and this is the question that this article is asking too. Is this going to be Dustin's full-time gig once he finishes with AEW?
No. No, I think that between that Turnbuckle Championship Wrestling, I think you are going to see a massive working agreement there.
I think we're going to see an agreement between all three of the Rhodes promotions.
Absolutely. And, well, I mean, Dustin and QT Marshall were also the lead trainers at the Nightmare Factory.
That they were. And QT, I believe, still comes in and helps Cody and Brandy out when he can over there.
Well, Dustin does.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think so. I think you're going to see Dustin come into a similar type of role as a Booker T.
Okay, so yeah, Booker is running in Texas. He's running Reality of Wrestling and doing the stuff with NXT.
Yeah.
And we got Chris Parrish coming in with the first Leafs joke of the episode. I see OMD is wearing dirty laundry again.
Hey, just came clean out of the closet today.
I'm not going to touch that one.
I didn't say I came out of the closet today. I said the shirt came out of the closet today.
I'm not going to touch that one. Yeah.
But I could also see, I mean, we've already alluded to Dustin Rhodes Hall of Fame inductions.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't even be surprised to see him maybe become a manager, or maybe we see guys like the Von Erichs come with him and let him become a manager. Granted, I think he would be far better on commentary than Booker T is. But I would also be intrigued to see where he may go if, let's say, he was put into a GM's type role.
I wouldn't say in WWE right now because I think we've got three enjoyable GMs, and I'm only saying enjoyable because I like what they're doing with Ava. I like what they're doing with Aldis. They're all the Jack Tunney type of GM. Only getting involved when they need to get involved, not making the story around them. You know what I mean?
No, this is gone are the days of Eric Bischoff, Teddy Long, and Paul Heyman as the GMs. Now we're getting
or even Vince McMahon,
unbiased. You know? Yep.
Yeah, impartial, unbiased. This is the match. You got to do it. Get out of my way. You know. We got Parrish coming in and saying that he would love to see Dustin come in and play a role at the Performance Center where he helps new talent with their work in the character development. Yes, 100%.
100%.
I mean, talk about a guy who's, just from the moment he appeared as Goldust, he had you just right in the palm of his hand. He didn't even have to say anything. Just walk to the ring and he's already got you, you know? And even when he was doing the, I'm going to go real early, Dustin, here and say when he was doing the natural Dustin Rhodes gimmick, they did a storyline in WCW in '94 where there was a bit of a rift between Dusty and Dustin, and Dusty was having a lot of trouble with Colonel Robert Parker and his boys.
Yep.
And Dusty had nobody to back him up, and he went to Dustin first, and then there was that whole Dusty was in the ring. You are my son. I need you. I need my son. And you see Dustin, just tears flowing from his face,
Yep.
and it was just so gripping and so emotional.
But you know what? And it's very reminiscent of early AEW.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe it was the original All In where Cody fought Dustin before AEW was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the next show, he'd said, I've signed on to face the Young Bucks, and now I need my brother by my side.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I could even see Goldust coming in, even just, and I mean, I know we've all sort of begged for it. Do we want to see him come down and create a distraction for Cody's benefit?
Yeah, he couldn't do that, though, because he was still under contract with AEW. He was at WrestleMania 40.
Yes.
Him and Cody did share a private moment together after Cody won the title.
Yep.
But I'm very excited. I'm looking forward to this. It's more wrestling content, and it's just as Jimmy Corderas was saying on his Ref and Rant, because he was saying that he was glad that AEW is getting a new TV deal.
Yep.
He said that it's more places for wrestlers to work, and that's the way I'm looking at this promotion as well. It's a way for your new wrestlers to come in, get trained, and then get that exposure, so that a guy like Hunter or Nick Khan or Tony Khan or even whoever's running TNA, name's escaping my head right now.
Yeah.
Even Scott D'Amore, and this is the
Maple Leaf
perfect
Pro.
segue as well.
Yes, it is.
We have yet another signing from Maple Leaf Pro. Former NXT interviewer Mckenzie Mitchell has landed a new role in the wrestling world. Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling announced that Mckenzie Mitchell will be their backstage correspondent at the Forged in Excellence event on October 19th and October 20th. I've got to remind myself to set some money aside so I can order those shows.
Right.
Mitchell commented on the news by saying she was excited to step back onto a backstage set, which is, good for her. Good for her. She's staying within the wrestling business, and she's what better person than to join up with than a guy like Scott D'Amore.
Right.
The more I'm looking at these signings, though, I'm wondering, and maybe I'm reaching here a little bit, but I wonder if Scott D'Amore wants to take Maple Leaf Pro and turn the big three into the big four.
I can see it. And I mean, Mckenzie Mitchell and Scott D'Amore do have history from their time together in TNA.
That's right, too. I did forget she was there at one time.
I was really disappointed to see when she lost her job in NXT.
Mm-hmm.
But I also found her a little more subdued in NXT, and she was a little more free in TNA.
Mm-hmm.
So good on her. I'm excited for her. I mean, we know she's never shutting the door on this, and I can see her very easily getting a comeback into one of the major promotions. I know I read through the article, and she hasn't closed the door on a return to TNA.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to depend on what we get with Maple Leaf Pro. Is it going to be these 1 or 2 day pay-per-view events, or are they going to get a television deal on, say, CTV or CBC, and we get them weekly?
Well, these events are going to be on. These events are going to be on Triller TV, and they do have weekly wrestling shows on there as well. So I can see them sticking with the online market, but not just with Triller. I would also throw episodes up on YouTube as well.
I'm going to suggest this because we know that this streaming platform has been angling to get wrestling for a while. What about Tubi?
I would be totally okay with that as well. Tubi as well. Yeah, Tubi is easier for me to access. I can watch it on my PS4. So, um, but yeah, I'm excited for her. From what I've seen from her, she's actually very good at doing the interviews. She does she does what she's told as far as like, interviewing wrestlers go. She knows how to handle like what's going on as far as being that backstage interviewer goes.
Right.
So I'm very excited to see where she goes. I didn't get to see her in TNA, and as you said, you felt she had a little bit more freedom there, and maybe we'll see a different Mckenzie Mitchell come this time around. And it does feel like yeah, she is going to be the backstage correspondent for the Forged in Excellence event, but I feel like with this, she's going to carry on with Maple Leaf Pro. And what I'm excited about, and I was thinking long and hard about this, I kind of want to see Maple Leaf Pro go on tour and go to some of the smaller cities. Hint, hint.
Right.
And even get some. If Scott D'Amore wants to reach out to some of the local talent as well,
Right.
and getting involved in this show. Reach out
Absolutely.
to Jacques Rougeau and his school of wrestlers. Reach out to the schools out in Alberta. Reach out to anywhere and get those talents and give the Canadian wrestling scene a little bit more exposure than what we already have.
Scott D'Amore, reach out to Turnbuckle Studios. We know some guys.
But yeah, I'm very excited about this. Very interested. I'm leaning towards ordering the show. I got to find out what the cost will be for the entire weekend again.
Right.
I did have the cost, but I forgot it. Just give me 1 second here. I'm trying to load up our next story here, which is our Showstopper segment.
On his feet. Oh my God in heaven!
And our Showstopper segment is not only something that's happening this Thursday, right here in our hometown. The CWE presents the Rumble to Remember, and that is Juventud Guerrera, who will be making an appearance this Thursday night. OMD and I and Bubba Duke will all be on hand to check out this show. If you are in the Sault Ste. Marie area, do yourself a favor and get yourself a ticket and come check out the show. We've got quite the stacked card here, and I'm very excited about this card because it'll mark 1 year since I've started doing commentary for CWE.
Right.
And
this will be my first attempt to do commentary with for CWE.
Yeah.
And again, right now, just due to everything going on at work, that right now that is all up in the air. Bubba Duke may be stepping in for me, so we'll have to play it by ear. It could be a very last minute thing that I get. Can you work until 8:00?
Mm-hmm. But let's talk about some of the matches that we're going to see on the card, because regardless of whether or not you miss the show, I know that you go back and watch it once we get everything uploaded onto Turnbuckle Studios.
I will.
And I'm going to start from the bottom here, and we're going to talk tag team action as Matt Powers and Rusty Blackwell, the Backwoods Butcher, take on Sergeant Commando and Diego Da Vinci. Now, we know that Powers has had his troubles with Diego in the past. Do we think, does Powers finally get his one up on Diego? Because Diego's got a few victories over him already.
Again, I haven't seen enough of Matt Powers in the ring, and that's just because of my availability.
I know you saw Blackwell, though.
I basically spent that show staring at Blackwell's ass just because of the angle where I had chosen to sit.
Yeah, he's a big boy, guys. He is a think of a I don't want to say this, but a bigger leather face, because that's what he comes to the ring. He's got that brown leather um, apron. There, that's the word I was looking for. But you've seen him move in the ring. He's a powerhouse. You know,
He is. He is.
I think this could be where Powers finally gets his victory, because he's got the backup of a guy like Rusty Blackwell.
I'm going to say this is Powers will get the victory, but it will be Sergeant Commando taking the pin.
I could see that, because Sergeant Commando, Diego's not to be trusted. I'll say that, you know. And the same thing could be said to Diego about Sergeant Commando, because he's just as sneaky, you know.
Yep.
But this
My
is going to
last
be
ever in-ring match was against Sergeant Commando.
and I bet you he was sneaky and dastardly towards you. Or
No.
were you?
No, he was not actually.
Oh, so this was before he turned his back on everyone.
Yes, this was. Well, no, he was still coming out. He was still the heel, but he got over. He got one up on me. So
It'll be.
OMD is looking for a grudge match. Sure.
You're looking to see a bit of a degree of revenge, as it were. You know.
I am.
We've also got 2 singles matches that I think are going to end in some kind of shenanigans here.
Okay.
We've got 2024 Elite 8 winner Joshua Cheeks Holiday taking on Danny Diggler. And in in a separate singles match, we got one half of the CWE Tag Team Champions, Scott Ripley, taking on Derek Diggler. Something tells me this match is going to end in shenanigans, and we're going to get another tag team match with the Double D's taking on both these men. The Double D's, as you know, they are con artists and a half. They are sneaky. They will do everything it takes to win the match.
They are, but they are fantastic. They are fun to watch. And I'm going to give it just based on experience together that the Double D's would pull out the victory in this tag team match.
If it does come down to that. But
yes,
if we were to look at it in a solo sense, Josh Holiday, he's been coming into his own as of late. He's a fantastic worker. He's worked the Digglers before. He worked them last year, I believe. I do think Cheeks could pull off the win here. Scott Ripley, I'm new to, but I know who Derek Diggler is, so I'm going to go with Derek Diggler on this one.
Right.
But I still think it ends in some kind of shenanigans somewhere along the way, and maybe they encounter each other again in the main event.
Right. And see, with each of those 2 singles matches, I'm only familiar with the Digglers.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm going to take them.
Yeah. Yeah,
because they follow the OMD philosophy.
Do what it takes to win.
# break the game.
Next up, we have a CWE Central Canadian Championship match coming up. We've got championship action on this card. It's not often it happens for us here. But Hotshot Danny Duggan is defending his championship. And I know Bubba's looking forward to this match because he is a fan of Danny Duggan.
He is.
He is taking on a guy by the name of Andrew Bam Bam Burton. I actually watched this guy this afternoon. This guy's got hands of stone, man.
Yeah?
Danny's in trouble.
Okay. Well, I mean, again, I don't know Bam Bam. This is my first time hearing the name. I haven't even seen the card on my social media.
Oh, I'll send you
what you're telling me.
I'll send you an image of the card so you can get an idea and look up the list of like the who's who on, you know what I mean?
But we know what Danny Duggan brings, and we know how nefarious he can be.
That's right. I mean, that's the one thing we got to look out for in this matchup too. Is Danny's a very very sneaky guy. He he pulls out some of them old school heel tactics. You know,
Yep.
like I'm talking like what did he do at the last show? Um, he kept on sneak attacking Savio at the one show.
Okay.
I remember that very well. But for the CWE Central Canadian Championship, this is I know Danny's been defending this title for a little while. Danny's going to do what it takes to keep that belt around his waist.
Yes, yes, he will.
But
And
Bam
if he
Bam,
loses it here, he's going to win it back somewhere else on this tour. So,
I was just going to say Bam Bam, but Bam Bam too. He's probably just as hungry for that championship.
right?
And now the special attraction match, as it's called here. This is the match that I know everyone is going to go ape for. I'm censoring myself here. We've got the Steel City Saint, Vinny Da Vinci, teaming up with WCW, WWE, ECW. A lot of people forget he was there and he was in ECW for a time. Lucha Libre legend, the Juice, Juventud Guerrera teaming up together as they take on the headline, Shawn Martins, and the main man, Josh Bain. And I know you've seen Josh Bain and Shawn Martins wrestle.
I have, and I am a huge fan of both men. But then again, also a huge fan of our local boy, the Steel City Saint, Vinny Da Vinci.
Yeah, this is the one thing that Martins and Bain have to look out for. They're the guys I'd like to slow the pace down, but Hoovy and Vinny are gonna bring the speed. You know what I mean?
And I mean, they're coming in. They've got the hometown advantage for this one.
Oh yeah, I mean, Josh Bain and Shawn Martins are going to be booed out of the building once everybody realizes that it's going to be Vinny taking them on, because Vinny is just incredibly popular here.
Right.
But yeah, I'm excited to see what Hoovy can do, because it's been a minute since I've actually been able to sit down and watch a newer Hoovy match.
Right.
And if there's a part of me that wants Juventud, I don't think he will do it, but there's a part of me that wants Juventud to come out to the Mexicools theme song.
The last time I watched Hoovy wrestle, he wrestled Chris Jericho in AEW.
Oh, did he?
Yes.
But I also want Hoovy to come out to the WCW theme, because I actually liked his WCW theme too.
Right. Yes, this is the second time that Hoovy has been here. I actually did meet him the next day after the last time he was here. I was working at Tim Hortons, and himself, along with Jimmy Jacobs, TK O'Ryan, and at the time, Vinny Marcellia, now Vincent in AEW Ring of Honor, came in and got lunch. So I got to meet them, got autographs.
This may seem like a silly question, but was Hoovy in his mask at all?
No.
Okay. Kind of figured he wouldn't wear his mask, because it's been posted to Hoovy's Twitter account. He has landed. He is here in Canada as we speak. He did put out a little promotional shout out for CWE.
Well, that's good, because the CWE tour kicked off tonight.
That's right, it did. But let's move on to a match that I'm definitely excited for, because it's one of my favorite match styles, and it's the main event match. That's right. Hoovy is in the main event, but he's not at the same time. He's in two matches.
Right.
We're getting ourselves an old-fashioned, over-the-top Rumble match.
Okay.
Every wrestler that I've listed here is going that we've talked about is going to be in this match.
Right.
Plus a few others.
Yes, and I was going to say, is there something on the line? Is there a shot at the CWE champion coming up? Is there a shot at the Central Canadian Championship? Is it?
You know what? I don't know because I'm not seeing anything like on this card right now that says that. But I would like to see that maybe because I already have my pick on who's to win because I really want to see this match as well.
Right.
I'm going with our local boy Vinny Da Vinci to take it 2 years in a row because he won it last year.
Okay. You see,
And
and
if
I'm gonna go a little bit different with you. I'm still gonna go with a local boy, but let's go with Matt Powers.
that's a massive underdog, and he actually last year he lasted quite a little while before he was thrown out in last year's
So,
Rumble match.
or
He
Matt
la-
Powers and Vinny will eliminate each other.
um, but the one guy that everybody needs to look out for, and I get a feeling we're going to see everybody teaming up on him and getting the Andre the Giant spot, Rusty Blackwell. Big
Yeah.
powerhouse in this match. He's going to get that monster spot. I feel like
We'll see. And
he's
I was gonna say, if we're gonna get that monster spot, we're gonna get the two giants facing off, I want it to be that Bam Bam guy that you were telling me about and Rusty Blackwell.
yeah. I feel like there's a lot to talk about here. Derek. Derek and Danny Derek and Danny Diggler are going to be the ones that are going to be like Jerry the King Lawler. Come into the ring, sneak out, hide underneath the ring or something like that. You know what I
Right.
mean? Danny Duggan, his appearance in the Rumble. He wasn't in last year's because he was injured last year. He was at the show, but he wasn't there. Danny's kind of the dark horse for me because I don't know how he is in these type of matches.
Right.
But I know that he's going to get booed out of the building once his number comes up. And I feel like if you're going to if you want to leave the fans happy, you could have Matt Powers or DA or Vinny end with Danny.
Yeah.
And you get Danny over the top and out.
Or do you do Danny and Diego come down to, because we all know about the history between Diego and Vinny Da Vinci, as well as Diego and Matt Powers.
Well, here's the thing. Last year's Rumble, to remember, Vinny and Diego had a match where it was hair versus career, or not
Right.
hair. It was if Vinny loses, he loses his hair, but it was the end of a feud. It was like
Right.
it was an end of an era match. They were to never wrestle each other again.
Right.
So they've
But
managed
this
to keep.
this doesn't have to be an actual match, right? This can just be a spot in the Rumble
Mhm.
with three local boys and the American hero.
You know what would be nice, and I'm gonna present this scenario for you here. And I know Diego won't do it, but I'm gonna just say it anyways. But imagine Diego turns babyface just for that brief moment, and we see Vinny, Matt Powers, and
Right.
Diego team up and get Danny out.
Right.
But you're going with Matt Powers to take this one, a massive underdog pick on this one for you, and I'm going with the surefire one, essentially.
Yes. But have I not been calling all the underdogs in wrestling in the last 6 months?
Yeah, you have. I'm very interested. This is going to be another wrestler that you should watch out for too. As I'm looking at the card again, watch out for Josh Holiday because that dude's like an octopus when he gets thrown over the top, gets thrown into the ropes. He last year's Rumble, he held on.
Okay.
He held on. Him and you know what? A lot of these guys have a lot of history together, especially again Josh Holiday and Matt Powers. They tag teamed at last year's show.
Right.
So we may see a little pairing between them two and try to get some guys out too.
Okay.
But I'm very excited about this. I'm excited to be calling my second Rumble match. This is going to be awesome. If you're in the Sault Ste. Marie area, guys, come on down to the Queen of Hearts Club. Buy yourself a ticket. Come check out some fine wrestling for the next 2 hours. In the meantime, OMD and I, we're going to wrap this up. Let's get those old socials out there, dude.
All right, let's do it, brother.
All right. And where can those people find you?
They can find me on my Linktree, linktr.ee/OMD show.
All right. And you guys can find me at my Linktree, linktr.ee/Chris_best83. And before I play the last the outros, as it were, what are those famous words that Carl likes to end the show off on?
In the immortal words of Carl Carafel, ladies and gentlemen, the world is a scary place. Take care of each other. From all of us here at Turnbuckle Studios, good night, good luck, we out.